Some moments don't just change a person's life, they completely reshape the course of human history. Today, we're diving into one of those moments, the very beginning of a divine message that would ripple across the entire globe. So, let's get right into it. So where does this all begin? Well, it's not in a grand palace or a bustling city. Our story starts right here, in the quiet, profound solitude of a mountain cave. It's just a powerful reminder that the biggest changes often come from the most unexpected places. But here's the thing. This incredible event didn't just happen out of the blue. Nope. There was a whole period of preparation, a series of signs that kind of hinted at what was on the horizon. Let's take a look at this prelude to the revelation. So what was going on with Muhammad right before this all happened? Well, two things really stand out. First, he was having these dreams, but they weren't just regular dreams. They were visions, so crystal clear that they would come true, just like the sun rising in the morning. And at the same time, he felt this deep, intense pull towards being alone, which led him away from busy Mecca to the peace and quiet of the Hira cave for contemplation. And it was in that very cave, during one of his solitary retreats, that it happened. A moment that was totally unprecedented, completely unexpected, and it would change absolutely everything. All of a sudden, an angel appears right in front of him, and it has a single powerful command: read. Can you just imagine the sheer shock of that? An otherworldly being right there giving you a direct order. And Muhammad's response? It's so simple, so honest, and just full of human vulnerability. You see, he was known to be unlettered. His answer wasn't defiant, it was just a fact. I cannot read. But the angel wasn't taking that for an answer. The encounter then becomes incredibly physical. The angel grabs Muhammad, embracing him with so much force that it was almost unbearable. He lets go and commands again, read. Same response. A second, equally crushing embrace. And then a third. This was not some gentle, dreamlike vision. This was a powerful, overwhelming, and frankly, terrifying experience. And after that third embrace, the angel releases him and delivers these exact words, the very first verses of the Quran ever to be revealed. And what's so fascinating is that the message doesn't start with rules or laws. It starts with a command to read, to seek knowledge, all in the name of the Creator. It immediately grounds everything in creation and God's generosity. So after an experience like that, shaken to his absolute core, Muhammad flees the cave. And where does he go? He doesn't look for a scholar or a tribal leader. He goes home, to his wife, Khadijah. She was his refuge. He gets home, his heart is pounding, he's trembling with fear, and his first words are just a simple plea for comfort. Cover me with a blanket. I mean, that one sentence tells you everything you need to know about the sheer terror and shock he was feeling. And this, right here, is one of the most incredible moments of support you'll ever hear about. Khadijah doesn't just offer empty words. She gives him a logical, reasoned argument based on his character. She tells him, Allah will never disgrace you. And then she lists the evidence. You're kind to your family, you help the weak, you're generous to the poor, you're hospitable. She literally grounds him in his own goodness, reminding him of exactly who he is. Okay, so, needing more answers, Khadijah takes him to her cousin, Waraka ibn Nawfal. Now, Waraka was an old, wise man, a Christian scholar who was familiar with the previous scriptures. He was the one who could put this whole incredible event into historical context. And as soon as Waraka hears the story, boom, the connection is instant. He immediately identifies the angelic visitor as the very same divine messenger that God had sent to Moses. This places the new revelation squarely in the long, continuous line of prophetic tradition. But right after this amazing validation comes a bombshell. Waraka follows it up with a heavy prophecy. Your own people will turn on you and drive you out. And Muhammad's reaction is just total disbelief. I mean, he was a respected man in his community. The idea was shocking. They will expel me? Waraka then confirms his fears with a hard truth from history. He basically says, listen, anyone who has ever brought a message like this has faced hostility from their own people. It's just the way it goes. And then he makes a powerful promise. If he's still alive when that day comes, he will support him with all his strength. But just a short time after this meeting, the wise Waraka passed away. And then, there was silence. The divine inspiration, the revelations, they just stopped for a while. This left the prophet in this state of longing and deep uncertainty, having had this incredible glimpse of the divine, but also a stark warning of the difficult road ahead. And that leaves us with a final, really profound question to think about. This whole story is filled with fear, intensity, and a prophecy of hardship. It really makes you wonder, why would the beginning of a divine message of guidance and peace be so intensely difficult for the very person chosen to deliver it?